If the commissioners that are in the chambers want to take their seats. Okay, before we get started, Commissioner Sachs wants to introduce her intern.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And I know I'm going to embarrass her, but come on over here, Marjorie. This is Miss Marjorie Pierre-Etienne, and she is going to be applying for transfer to Vanderbilt University. I think we've heard of that before. But she has been working in my office for many, many months and has been an excellent addition to Commissioner Sachs's office. So just wanted to introduce her to the county. And one day maybe she'll be sitting on this side. So thank you so much for all your service. And we wish you all the best of luck. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And now we are returning to item 4C2. So because we've had the overview, where are we going now? Are we doing the presentations now?
So you would start with presentations for package 2 with the selected proposer, Paradis Lagardère, followed by SSP if you elect to have presentations, and then you'll go to public comment, then board discussion.
Perfect. Thank you. All righty, so you have 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Kathleen Fox, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development for Paradis Lagardère, and I oversee this amazing state of Florida. I'm here to share with you Package 2, but first I'm going to show you our renders of our innovative concepts to set the stage for what we're trying to create here at the Palm Beach International Airport. Our goal is to not only excite the passenger, elevate the options, but bring the community along with us. This is the first ever exclusive airport concept, the Turn by PGA Tour. It will be a magnet for passengers. The concept isn't just a restaurant, it's a destination. With Palm Beach being the golf capital, the passengers will be able to dine, play the local courses on the simulator, along with shop merchandise from the Cognizant Classic, the Tour, and TGL. Fun fact, our simulator is the same simulator, the same technology the pros are playing on TGL, which is Palm Beach's very own first ever simulator league founded by Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy. But it also offers additional sports like baseball and soccer. Pistache, who are here with us today, is long considered to be the premier French dining restaurant in downtown West Palm Beach. Pistache continues to be a crowd pleaser with being named Open Table's Diner's Choice 2024. Our food hall, offering something for everyone, will have a range of local and regional brands like 2J's, Havana Cuban, and Tropical Smoothie. Havana Cuban, founded by the immigrant family the Reyes, who are here today, and now operated by their daughter Martha, her husband Rafael, and daughter Vanessa. Havana has been awarded Palm Beach's county's best Cuban restaurant, best Cuban sandwich, best caterer, and best local coffee year over year. 2J's, who is also here, meshes the New York-style deli with Southern hospitality. It began with a single location in Palm Beach in 1981, being born out of the passion for creating classic recipes and flavors of an authentic deli, served with lots of love and amazing hospitality, and has now become a staple in the community for catering. Offering our proprietary brands like award-winning wine and cocktail concept, Vino Volo, and our newly created Coastal Cask, offers the customer a nice wine or cocktail before their flight. And you can't forget about coffee. We have Starbucks and Dunkin'. Not only does our dining offer have a great mix of local, regional, and national brands, so does our retail. Check out Worth Avenue Market, Flagler Exchange, and Ocean Boulevard. All these concepts will include an assortment from local brands such as Sarah's Slow Jams, Calusa Waterware, and Florida Go, who are all here as well. We are trusted in the industry, and more importantly, we are trusted in Palm Beach as your current retail operator. We operate not only retail, but dining nationwide, which gives us the expertise needed to drive results. But we are known for our local approach, not only in the offer we bring to the airport, but also with the successful partnerships we build. Here is our family dream team, all equity shareholders, who are all local partners, Sylvia, Vivreen, and Trinette. When I said we were industry leading, I meant it. We are the most awarded company in the industry with Best Airport Retailer, 28 consecutive years. Highest regard for customer service, 24 consecutive years in both dining and in retail. We have also created an amazing balance of high-tech and high-touch experiences, which equals first-class, fast service. We will be offering high-touch, welcoming experience along with the useful technology for seamless in-store experiences. We know Palm Beach, and we know the customer, a topic that I personally am very extremely passionate about. We have utilized data to better understand the customer, making us the expert. We tailor the program offered to the top personas in your airport with the focus on couples with clout, who represents the highest demand shown here on screen. This allowed us to better appreciate what the customer wants, like dietary needs. We already will have kosher, gluten-free, and vegetarian options, but we also know how we need to create value for them. We know coffee is important to the Palm Beach customer, and we have the rare opportunity in one terminal to have something for everyone. We are excited to be able to offer our local brand, Pump House, who's here. We know that Palm Beach runs on Dunkin', and we know that Delta, who is in Concourse C, wants more Starbucks. So everyone walks away happy and caffeinated. With the right mix of powerful national and local brands to bring a sense of place, we have built an innovative and engaging offer to elevate the customer's experience at PBI. We are committed to sourcing local companies like our beloved Cafe Paneterie, who provided our grab-and-go business and has grown to be a $2 million business because it's fresh, it's local, and the product is delivered daily. Let me put that into perspective for you. We are selling 800 sandwiches every day between sandwiches and salads. It is important for us that we capture the Palm Beach County, and on this slide, you can see our partners for both dining and retail. Yellow highlights full store operations, orange wholesale partners on the dining side, and blue wholesale partners on the retail side, and pink our local produce supply. This will continue to evolve over the term of the contract to ensure we're continue to offer opportunities for the Palm Beach County local businesses.
Thank you, Kathleen. My name is Greg Paradis. I'm CEO of Paradis Lagardère. I first want to address the two questions that were asked of me 2 weeks ago as part of this meeting. The first question was, were we open to operate in Plum Market? And the answer is yes. We now have signed agreement with Plum Market, provided the airport and county wants to reject a portion of our other proposal to make up space, to make space for Plum Market. So I want to be very clear. We opened the very first Plum Market in the airport in 2015, been very successful. This unit in Detroit will do over $12 million this year. Second question, as far as local agriculture, our program nationally is farm to flight. What does that mean? We make a concerted effort to bring local agriculture into airports to accomplish two things: fresh local produce featuring in our recipes, and also packaged local gourmet gifts in our retail stores. We're very pleased that we have an exclusive relationship with Bednar's for package number 2. Incidentally, they were founded the same year Paradis was founded in 1960, so we're a family-owned business very similar to them. Why us? We know you guys have a very difficult and important decision to make, but as we all know, a lot of companies can make pretty proposals, but I think your key decision point is who's going to deliver during the best of times and the worst of times like COVID. I believe if you ask Ms. Beebe and her team, Paradis is that team that always delivers during all times. And we never say no to the airport, and I commit to you, we'll never say no to you as far as your request for this program. Local. Why us? Local. We're going to be real local. Yes, we'll maintain a boutique airport, but we're real local between national brands, product, et cetera. Part of that will be 75% local participation in construction. We'll be spending $20 million, so 75% will be going to local companies. And we'll do it through outreach programs and an RFP process to give more companies the opportunity to participate. We are committed to supporting and investing in Palm Beach, just like we have for many years. We're thrilled with our partnership with Palm Beach State College. Dean Hadley is here today. He'll speak in a minute. We'll be awarding over $100,000 in scholarships to qualified students. In addition, we'll have an internship program and also full-time employment opportunities as well. We are also very proud to continue to support Blend Palm Beach County. That is a program, a project-based learning program for students attending Title I schools in the food space, which has been so successful for us over the years. Lastly, we are committed to our people. A lot of people ask me, what is a key differentiator of our company? It's our family culture. We are a family. I am so proud of the team we have today, and proof is our management team has done an exceptional job creating a family culture. Our management team recognizes if our associates are happy, they'll make the customer happy. It's that simple, but it's not easy because our people are there at 4 a.m. in the morning, they close at midnight. That's what we mean by PBI is family. And I personally know many of our family members. Amy, our bookkeeper, joined the company in 1987, the same year as me. Yes, I am old. Okay. Also, Kamala joined our company 25 years ago. I've known Kamala for all these years. Susie, I saw yesterday with a smiling face. She was nervous. As you could tell, I'm nervous today too because I'm protecting a lot of jobs. So on behalf of our local team, our joint venture partners, our company, we would greatly, greatly appreciate the opportunity to continue this very successful partnership. And my commitment to you is we will continue to over-deliver and we'll never say no to the airport or to you. We hear you today. We want to make the changes you want to make the traveler's experience an award-winning program here at PBI. So thank you and happy to answer any questions at this time.
You did so well, there's no lights on.
God, I can't believe
At the
that.
moment.
Okay.
Sure. So since we have no questions at the moment, we're going to go ahead. Commissioner Sachs? You broke the streak.
I thought I'd start.
Okay.
I just had a sip of coffee. I like when you said caffeinated and ready to go. You talk faster than I can think, you know.
Oh, did I apologize?
Let me just say this.
I'm Southern.
So, okay. I'm from Detroit, so so you have had your team together for many, many years, obviously. And have you been here at PBI? You've served here for us here at Palm Beach International, sir?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, and I actually put together the very first proposal for our company here at PBI. We worked overnight on that throughout the night to get that proposal in 1987. So that was when I joined the company.
So you've been here at our airport since 1987?
Yes, competed in various RFPs over the years.
Okay.
And have been successful.
Okay, and if I could...
For retail.
For
Thank you.
retail.
For retail only up to this point.
And now you want to expand into food as well?
Yes, and we have a big presence, as you probably saw on the map earlier, on food and beverage throughout North America. It's now 40% of our overall business.
And you said that you were working with our local farmers as well as Plum Market to get in our local produce and agricultural products. Is that
That is correct. And I failed to mention in my speed here that if we do move forward with Plum Market, if we're given that opportunity from you guys, if you reject one of our concepts to do that, then Plum Market is also working with Roth Farms to bring in agriculture into Plum Market.
Okay. I think he's one of our largest farmers for
Yes.
the farm operations in the county.
And Bednar we're working with as well.
And Bednar as well. Too.
As well as others. We're happy to work with other local farms. That's what we do. That's all part of our farm to table program.
And when you said, I think you had 10,000 in scholarships and you had another number for Palm Beach County, you're not paying. I mean, where's that money going to? You had scholarships for Palm Beach College, and then 25,000. Is that to support our local companies here, sir?
Yes, yeah, good question. Thank you. And once again, I apologize. I went a little fast. I saw the clock ticking. So first of all, it will be 100 for Palm Beach State College, and Dean Hadley's going to speak in a few minutes when allowed the opportunity. We're going to award over $100,000 over 10 years, so $10,000 a year in scholarships. For Blinn, Palm Beach County, to date, we've donated over $25,000 over the last few years, and we're going to continue that participation moving forward. It's been a very good relationship. And very meaningful.
Where does that money go to Palm Beach County?
To Blinn, Palm Beach County, which is the
I see.
organization,
Oh, I see. Okay.
to Palm Beach County Schools.
Okay. Excellent. So that you'll hire local as well.
Yeah, and
Yes.
then the scholarship is to a student. There's certain requirements a student must achieve in order to apply for the scholarships in the school.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. And I apologize to the rest of the board for my absence when this was discussed the first time. And I did go back and watch, but I think I could use some clarification on the plum market discussion that we had, just so that I understand, and he even mentioned it, that if we were to ask for that to be renegotiated, would it be like the Worth Avenue Market or the Flagler Exchange? You have an Ocean Boulevard concept. I mean, would that be to replace one of those or all of those? What are we?
It would have to provide for the replacement of at least one of those. If the board wants us to negotiate a change to the agreement after the fact. As far as the specific location, I would really have to defer to Parodies of what's the right location for that concept.
Commissioner Woodward, if I may. So the deal that we have struck. Sorry, my name is David Bissett. I'm the Chief Development Officer for the company. I would just like to clarify. So we have signed an agreement with Plum, which basically enables them to move into the C6, C7 space, which is the market concept at the end of the concourse, which is the prime space. So we would still retain the Vino Volo wine bar. Attached to that would then be Plum Market, and we would hope that would be, with your direction, we would then also maintain the Pump House coffee supply to Plum Market. And we think from the discussions that we've had, and obviously the experience here, that that would be the best way to make sure we get maximum local participation.
So would that? Sorry,
It's the very.
I don't think I'm on the right page.
So
Would
it's
that
the
be
Verde
yours?
Market they're proposing to change with Plum Market, if that's what the board desires.
So, Commissioner, maybe this will be helpful. So if I come back to the image, you don't necessarily see it here, but go all the way back. So on the back side of this unit, this is a combined larger space now. 2 units are being merged together in this RFP. So this would be the wine bar side, and on the other side of that unit would be Plum Market, if that's what you so decide. Because obviously the specific wording here is we didn't propose that. We proposed a proprietary Verde Market with Pump House Coffee. You have the rights to be able to reject Verde Market. We would replace that with Plum Market, and then we would obviously would like to maintain Pump House Coffee being the supplier of the coffee in the market.
So that's on page 21 of your presentation. You can see the location.
Is there a financial change if we were to request that?
Yes, but it wouldn't be material that you should be dissuaded from doing so.
So in order to change the financial terms, if the board desires us to negotiate the replacement of a concept, we would need to come back with an amendment. You'd need to direct us similar to the prior item to come back with an amendment. Parodies has indicated that they're willing to do that, but it will change the financial structure. Right now, they proposed 15% of gross revenues for that unit because it's a proprietary concept. They will have to pay Plum Market or whomever else they negotiate with a license fee because it's a national concept. So it would reduce the amount to the department to some degree in the county. Is it material? Based on the sales from these units, I'm not overly concerned the difference between 5%. I don't think it'll make a huge difference in the concessions program overall in terms of gross revenues.
Well, that would be one part of my question as far as how that affects the county's overall take in this, but I guess my other question would be, because as I understood it, these markets were meant to support local vendors of different products. And this may not be something that you can answer, but I would like to know if we were to go away from your proprietary version into Plum Market, would that change what the local vendor could then what is their income based on that? Would they have to pay Plum Market a certain part of all of this? I mean,
So I
because I
can-
would not want to do that if that's the case.
You are completely correct to be concerned, but there is no impact. So essentially what happens is a proprietary concept that we own. We will be the ones paying the royalty to Plum Market. You will still have more local suppliers because frankly, Plum Market did an excellent job of signing up more local suppliers probably than anybody did. And so meaning we now have all of those same suppliers that come along with Plum Market. So from a local perspective, yes, it isn't the best financial decision for us necessarily, but it will achieve the best local outcome. So you will have more local suppliers, we will be getting the bill, we will obviously discuss the amount, but to Ms. Beebe's point, there are 11 stores in this package. This is just one of them.
Okay.
So it's really a very small impact on the overall financials that we'd anticipate, but you would get more
They had
local.
proposed Panatery in the Verde Market and Pump House Coffee. They're proposing to keep Pump House Coffee. I don't know about Panatery, but they are proposing selling Panatery throughout the airport. I believe even in vending machines. It's their our most popular sandwiches and salads at the airport right now. We have one unit, it's 500 square feet. They're selling $1.2 million, I think, annually on that one unit alone. So it's my understanding Panatery is here to stay, but it may not be included in that unit. That's something that they'll have to discuss with their partners.
That is correct.
Okay, I just would want to make sure as we move this forward that, I mean, Plum Market is a different entity, so there's going to be money that gets moved towards them. I just wanted to find out exactly where that's coming from, and I wouldn't want it to hit our local vendors in their pockets.
I can confirm that it would not.
Okay.
Okay. No, we're going to move on to the next presenter. Thank you.
For the
Commissioner
staff.
Sachs?
Yes, for the staff. What's the difference between the amounts of money that we will make as a county between the two vendors?
It really depends on the gross sales for that unit. I can't tell you off the top of my head what the differential will be. If you're selling $1.2 million in a singular unit and you have to, it's just the differential. Is it
Do you not
significant, the
know?
total for the airport? I firmly believe by moving forward with the concessions program, our volume will significantly increase. And I can tell you it's happened time and time again, particularly with Parodies. When Greg Parody says he doesn't say no, he never says no. We had an issue at one point in the airport where we had a bookstore and it was not operating very well. You know, everybody has their books now on electronic devices, and we said, you know, we really could use more grab and go at the airport, and, you know, we negotiated a change, and they came back with Flagler Market, and that's where Panatery is, and they're now generating $1.2 million in sales from that unit, from a unit that wasn't anywhere close to $1.2 million in sales. So what I'm telling you is in terms of the revenue to the airport, am I concerned in the differential of 5% in a singular unit? No, I am not.
Is it, approximately how much do we make as an airport from our concessions?
So the combined concessions, each agreement is about $4 million a year, a little bit over $4 million a year. They're generating about over $20 million a year for retail, and then the same for food and beverage. I believe at the end of this program, we're going to go from a over $40 million revenue generator to probably closer to $60 million. That's really
60
where we
million.
should be.
So this is a significant decision that we're going to make.
Well, and not all of that money obviously comes to the airport. We get a percentage of that based on gross revenues. But if
Where
we
does the
have,
other money go to?
well, there's their profit, and there's also the percentage that they share with the airport based on what they proposed in their agreements. So our percentage right now is it's over $4 million out of the $20 million.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you.
And just as a question, each proposer is also paying for whatever improvements that they make, correct?
100% of the cost. None of this is being, the $15 million that they're putting in initially and the additional $5 million, that is fully paid by the concessionaire, not by the county. It will provide for a significant upgrade to our facilities. And like I said, you know, that additional $5 million gives us some flexibility during the term of the contract to refurbish, update, make changes at no cost to the county.
And it looked like with both packages, it was close to $20 million.
Yes. And they will all spend more than that, I can guarantee you. They've agreed to a minimum capital investment. Our agreement actually backs out certain costs, so they're not allowed to count that towards the minimum capital investment. So I can guarantee you they will spend more.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, presentation number 2.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Jewell. I'm the Senior Director of Business Development from SSP America, and I am thrilled to be here today. Thank you for having us. We are thrilled to discuss our shared vision for the airport's new and exciting and world-class concessions program. And I'm going to talk a bit about connection, community, and collaboration. But first, I'd like to tell you a few of my most favorite things about SSP America. SSP is part of SSP Group, a company that operates in 38 countries around the world in travel venues. Here at home, we're in 60 airports across the U.S., with the U.S. and Canada, with 6 right here in Florida. We are a passionate group of people, and it's our passion principles that drive our activities every day. Those are things like being committed to innovation, being open to new ideas, and offering service from the heart. Now, we are passionate, as I said, and we are passionate about our people, our process, our partners, and our award-winning customer service programs, our marketing and engagement programs, and our sustainability and innovation. We have a portfolio in North America of over 500 unique locations. Within those 500, we have 400 different brands. What that means is when we commit to a program that delivers on local, you can engage with us with confidence. Our founding principle of SSP America is on engaging with local brands, and we call it a taste of place. Now, how do you bring taste of place to a community as big, as culturally and geographically diverse as Palm Beach County? It's been one of the joys of my career to work on this project, and I can tell you that what we did first was develop a community within the community. So first up, I'll introduce our ACDVE partners. A 5th-generation local resident of Palm Beach County is Sharon Merchant, owner of the Merchant Strategy. She lives in the northern part of the county, and her firm is just around the corner. Next up is Allison Botcher. Allison is the owner of one of West Palm Beach's most charming coffee houses, Blue Mountain Coffee House. Then we have Iris Goldschmidt from Wellington. Iris is a longtime legend in retail and aviation. She's credited with bringing many innovations to the space. She's in about 40 airports with her company APW Brands, still hunting for that business at home. And last but not least, Terry Roberts, owner of On-Site Retail. On-Site Retail is a bespoke retail and restaurant company in a number of airports across the U.S. Terry is not new to aviation, but she did just close on a home right outside of Miami, so she is new to Florida. Like other presentations you may have seen today, we've all seen today, we also wanted to map out our proposed brands for this package and how they scatter across the county. And I will just take a minute to mention that we, similar to others you may have seen, we're very heavily focused on the local. We do have a couple of national brands because travel is a stressful experience, and those national brands help travelers feel confident about what they're seeing, but the bulk of our program is local, and it goes all the way from Jupiter all the way down to Boca. And we'll spend a minute talking about those brands in just a minute, but I wanted to move along to our community engagement, which is also a very important part of how we approach any business opportunity. So we also have a partnership with Palm Beach State College and a commitment to an internship and mentorship program in things like culinary and hospitality, but also in other disciplines such as IT. We have a partnership with the Florida Farm Bureau, and you'll see our proposed farmers market concept. That relationship has brought lots of new information to me personally, including picking my own cob of corn fresh off the stalk, which was one of the most delicious experiences I've had. We have a farmers market restaurant planned. We have been introduced to many growers and farmers from the Ag Reserve, of course, all the way out west. And I've also been introduced to other important products to the community, such as sugarcane, and we've committed to carrying those compostable products in our restaurants as well. We have a partnership with Song and Associates as a demonstration of the commitment that we make that an opportunity at the airport should impact local businesses. So Song and Associates is a design firm that did some of the renderings and the layouts that you've seen in our proposal. As another commitment to community engagement, I wanted to show our local products. These are products that were showcased in our proposal, what was submitted in November. This is a point in time. This list will definitely grow, as does our ever-evolving list of branded restaurants and products. Again, the message here is confidence. When you work with SSP and engage with SSP, you can have confidence that we will deliver a program that is award-winning, that is world-class, and that is centered on the community in which we operate. Now, I love this photo. I don't love that Y turned sideways, sorry. I love this photo because just a quick moment on connection and connectivity in the community. This is Joe Jr., one of the owners of Joseph's Classic Market, standing in front of the display of Blue Mountain Coffee. This relationship was forged after January. These are two of our partners who found each other and started working together, and the joy on Joe Jr.'s face is palpable. That's just pure exuberance. The coffee's flying off the shelves, he says, and I love that this sense of community was raised between our partners finding each other. So I'm going to take you through our branded concepts. I'm going to do a bit of a rapid fire just to show you the proposal, but keep in mind they were all developed with brands that are local, brands that are legacy, brands that are newer. We engage with educational institutions, social, sports and entertainment venues, and of course the agriculture community. So Blue Mountain Coffee House, you've heard about. Joseph's Classic Market has multiple locations in the county. Reno's of Boca. Square Grouper up in Jupiter. Amar is a delightful location in Delray Beach and has vegan and vegetarian items on the menu, which we've also called out on all of our menus, but just wanted to make sure to mention that here. We also have Berry Fresh Cafe, also with gluten-free menu items. Berry Fresh has multiple sites in the county. There are 5 locations. They also are selling gift cards at Costco and 4 different Costcos around the county. A custom developed concept with local celebrity chef Lindsay Autry. McCrae's Backyard Barbecue, who has catered 19 Super Bowls and counting. And then we have our retail offerings, which include specialty concepts, or specialty brands, like Lilly Pulitzer and other locals. Sorry, I went forward when I should have gone backward. The Boca Raton Hotel, with its 99-year legacy, has multiple restaurants within from which we could choose. And then last but not least, we also developed a golf concept called the Clubhouse in partnership with the Inner City Youth Golfers. Oh, I did say last but not least, but I meant the farmers market is there as well. And farmers market restaurant is very important. As my time is coming to a close, I'm going to invite our CEO and our Senior Vice President of Business Development to join me here for questions. I'd like to leave you with a couple of thoughts. We envision the future where there's a world-class program at the airport, where we can showcase what's unique about the county, make our stakeholders proud, and deliver financial returns. SSP is committed to making this vision a reality, to highlight what is unique and wonderful about this county, to leave our guests and our travelers delighted, inspired, and connected. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Do I have any questions? I don't see any lights on. Do I have any questions from the board members at this time? If not, why don't we take the cards and then we'll come back with questions after that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And again, we will give you 2 minutes, and if you want to wave in support for one, that'd be great. Wave in support for another, that would be great.
Okay, we have Sarah Cohen, Christian LeClanche, sorry, Matt, oh God, Fredo, thank you, and Vanessa Hussey.
Good afternoon, Mayor Marino, Commissioners, Board. It's a pleasure to be in front of you today. I am Christian LeClanche of Pump House Coffee Roasters, one of the co-founders, with my brother Alex, who's joining me here today. And we are very excited for the opportunity to have partnered with Paradis in the opportunity to help steer new product offerings for Palm Beach International Airport. When it comes to local, that is the ethos of our business. Our name, Pump House Coffee Roasters, comes from the sand pumping station at the south end of Singer Island. We started locally in Jupiter in a small 1,400 square foot roasting facility, selling wholesale and getting our first start retail at the West Palm Beach Green Market every Saturday, and then also evolving into the Gardens Green Market, so doing Saturdays and Sundays. So we would always say 7 months on, 7 days a week, as we would go through those seasons, as well as working with some great local partners that have been displayed from a lot of the candidates today. We work with the Breakers on Palm Beach on a wholesale level, Celis Juice Bar, Aioli Bakery, the Hilton here in Palm Beach. So we've been building a brand presence as Palm Beach County's lead specialty roaster, and that has culminated 2 years ago when we launched our Pump House Poratorium location in the warehouse district of West Palm Beach, which is our version of a coffee fun factory, where it's 8,000 square feet of roastery, full cafe with breakfast, lunch, and beer and wine as well for the non-coffee drinkers, and a training lab as well. So it has been extremely well received by the community at large. We also just signed a lease for the brand new office building right next door to here, 300 Banyan, where we are expecting by fall to have a new location to hopefully serve you guys in future. But we're very excited to be partnered with Paradis, who set the gold standard for airport operations. Thank you very much.
Either one. Or actually, there's 2 microphones.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Matt Iafredo, and I'm Senior Vice President of Licensing and Merchandising at the PGA Tour. You heard bits and pieces of it today, but I wanted to reiterate quickly the commitment the PGA Tour has to this community. In 2024, we took ownership of the Cognizant Classic, played at PGA National, and we are very excited about its future. A few quick numbers for you. On average, that event brings about 200,000 visitors a year and generates about $40 million of economic impact. Most important to us and to you, I imagine, is that it also generates about $6.5 million of charitable contributions that stay within this community. Kathleen alluded to it earlier, but also in 2024, we partnered with Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods on the first ever indoor golf simulator league called TGL. The SoFi Center was built here in the area at Palm Beach State College, and all the matches were played on either ESPN or ESPN2, bringing a lot of coverage to the area. Last but not least, the reason we're here today, we've been a partner with Paradis for over 25 years, which I feel comfortable saying is one of the longest standing partnerships with the PGA Tour. They're a phenomenal partner, and when they came to us with the concept of The Turn, which combines food and beverage, retail, and golf entertainment, we couldn't say yes quick enough to that opportunity. I joked with the team earlier that golf is definitely having a moment, and that you might not get it by looking at just me, but it's very cool. So we would love the opportunity to be a partner with the community and with Paradis on this opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, the pro golfer's not commenting.
Good afternoon. I'm Vanessa Hussey, the daughter and granddaughter of the founders of Havana, a true small business and family-owned restaurant that has proudly served the Palm Beach County community for over 30 years. As a minority-owned business, Havana is more than just a restaurant. It's a living example of the positive impact that small local enterprises can have in the fabric of our community. For 3 decades, I've witnessed firsthand how food brings people together. Our mission from the very beginning has been simple: to share the rich flavors, culture, and warmth of the Cuban cuisine with the people of Palm Beach County. The opportunity at Palm Beach International Airport is not just about expanding our business, it's about representation. It's about offering travelers a window into the diversity and vibrancy of Palm Beach County. We want every visitor to walk away with a deeper appreciation for the richness of our local culture and the value that diversity brings to our region. Whether travelers are arriving in Florida or heading home, we want them to leave with a sense of belonging and a piece of what makes this community unique. We are also thrilled to partner with Parodies. From the very beginning, we've admired their commitment to local businesses and their understanding of how authentic, community-rooted experiences help make any place truly special. We share these values, and together we believe that we can offer something truly unique to those passing through the airport. In closing, I want to thank you not only for considering us, but also for your continued support of small businesses. We're excited about the future and hopeful for the opportunity to bring the heart of Havana to the gateway of Palm Beach County. Thank you for your time and your trust.
Thank you. We have Rick Roth, John Hadley, Trinette Morris, and Terry Beard. We have 2 microphones.
I get to go first? Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Good afternoon. My name is Rick Roth. I'm a Palm Beach County lifelong resident and farmer, Roth Farms in Belglade, Florida. I'm here today on behalf of Farm Bureau. I was at the beginning of the process when SSP came to Palm Beach County and was looking to get connected with local agriculture. Sharon Merchant came to my office as a state representative and said, what can we do to include local agriculture in the SSP application? I'm here to tell you there are 2 different agricultural industries in Palm Beach County. There are also 2 different farm bureaus. There's Western and there's Palm Beach. But Farm Bureau is agriculture in the state of Florida, and by SSP partnering with our farm bureaus, you're guaranteeing that not only does Bednar's or Dickie Bowman participate, you're going to be having participation from a whole group of agriculture, including people like Jim Alderman over in eastern Palm Beach County. I want to leave you with an agricultural thought. $2.5 billion industry in western Palm Beach County, and we are at the top of our game. A lot of retail pack, a lot of produce that we can deliver ready to eat to these restaurants and highlight locally grown. But there's a second concept. You also have eastern Palm Beach County agriculture, which is under threat of going out of business because you can sell an acre of farmland for $400,000 on State Road 7. So this opportunity for SSP to highlight agriculture, I think, can really be a boost in the arm for the agricultural community. I'll leave you with one thought. No matter who wins today, help us in Palm Beach County agriculture by being able to work with these people and highlight what we have to offer, like our glorious sweet corn. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Commissioner Woodward, how many cards do we have left on this item?
14, I believe.
14 left? I'll ask now if you don't mind. Would somebody from Parodies mind coming up to the microphone? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Has Parodies or did Parodies reach out to my Western agricultural community?
We did.
And?
The challenge, I suppose, for this process is understanding how important this has become for the Commission. It somewhat became a race to secure suppliers. So one thing I'll make very clear is this process is obviously competitive. Clearly, bringing agriculture to the table is something that we've all tried to do excessively to make an impact here.
I appreciate that, so thank you.
Probably you'll appreciate this a little bit more. So what I think is very, very important, and SSP would be the same, and Avolta would have been the same. No one here from any of these companies is going to prevent any agriculture supplier from being in the business of the winning company.
Forgive me, but we don't want you to just prevent, we want you to actively work with.
One thing I just wanted to clarify is it sounds like different companies are coming in with different teams of agricultural providers behind them. When this is over and somebody is awarded, those doors basically open up. Every one of our companies shares the same view that local produce is critical. As we've said, we have a national program that we've been running for years, and we do this. So we absolutely welcome Roth Farms, the Florida Farm Bureau, everyone to be a part of this business with us. That is what we do elsewhere. That is what we would do here.
So I get your commitment, regardless of which applicant we choose today, that you will work with Western and Eastern farmers?
That is correct. The door's open to everybody.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. Sir?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayors, and Commissioners. Thank you for having me speak. My name is John Hadley. I am the Dean of Business and Computer Science at Palm Beach State College. I am also a native of Palm Beach County by way of Delray Beach, Florida. Yoo-hoo. I am here today to support Parities as a business partner. Our mission at Palm Beach State College is to create an ecosystem of business partnerships where we're creating a pipeline of professionals. I was a part of the MOU that was constructed with Parities, so that's why I'm here on behalf of Parities. Our internship program is the carrot I think will help our students get to the finish line. One of the issues that we have is retention and completion, and I think having more partnerships, students understand that we are here to create a career pathway that our enrollment, retention, and completion will increase. As a final quote, something I would say and that I've learned is that it takes a village to bring up a child. And I think a partnership with Palm Beach State College, a partnership with the municipalities, I would like to say thank you to Commissioner Wise, who's been on our advisory board at Palm Beach State College for quite some time. All these partnerships will create the perfect scenario for someone getting a job and having a career path to change their family. In advance, I would like to thank you all for this opportunity and your support. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Trinette Morris, owner of Trendy Gourmet, a local catering, cafe, and what I think I'm most proud of and most important, small business champion. I currently incubate 10 small businesses at Trendy Gourmet at my Spruce location. I've had 2 locations, 407 North Rosemary, currently 2055 Spruce, and I incubate 10 small businesses from Foster's Barbecue to Granny B's to Third's Barbecue, amongst others. And so I'm most proud of the fact that as a small business that I can incubate and help other small businesses. In 2003, I made one of the most important decisions of my life, and that was to leave Orange County Public Schools to go work for Leapfrog Enterprises, the toy company, the Leap Pad. That founder, Mike Wood, passed away a couple days ago, like last week actually. But one of the things he always told me was, Trinette, do what gives you goosebumps. And in 2003, when I got the call from Parities, not really understanding what this opportunity was, it gave me goosebumps. Subsequently, I got calls from just about every other company that has been represented and some who are not here today. And I went with Parities because I wanted to be associated with the best. And they not only cared about what I was doing at Trendy Gourmet, it was really, what are you doing with the community? It was my community participation and ethics that really, I think, attracted them more so than what I was, the loaded grits that we sell at the cafe. I say all that to say, although I am not a partner right now, one of the things that they did initially, and again, in caring about all the things that I did, was support our Project Blend Palm Beach County, where we grow microgreens in several elementary schools. As I'm an educator at heart, I'll never not be an educator. And at several mayor's balls, you all have had plates of microgreens grown by the students of Palm Beach County. So I'm thrilled to be a partner with Parodies, and I ask for your support today.
Good afternoon. My name is Thierry Beau. I'm the founder of T2O Hospitality Group, which includes Pistache, represented in package number 2, as well as PB Catch, which is a secondary concept. We opened Pistache in 2008. We were one of the first ones to invest in sort of the renewal, rebirth of West Palm Beach as our county's capital, along with people like Rocco. And through financial crisis, through COVID, we built a solid brand. So when we were approached by different angles in possibly being part of the new airport proposal, we got really intrigued and we started shopping around a little bit. I'm in a unique position that I also founded Panetteri, and 10 years ago, we established a contract with Paradies Lagardère. And so after doing our shopping a little bit around different companies that were doing the proposal, we remember Paradies Lagardère commitment to their partners, how they helped us grow with them as a small business, which now belongs to, and I remember also their stringent commitment to quality, always listening to their customers and the airport traffic. We were constantly questioning if our product proposal was the right one for the demographics that were going through the airport. This made me very confident that we were on the right team, and I'm really happy that Pistache is part of Paradies Lagardère proposal. Thank you.
We have 2 microphones open, so please take both microphones when your name is called.
Okay, we have Pat Murray, Jennifer Jewell, Iris Goldschmidt, and Lisa Kintrell. Should I call forward?
Hello, I'm Iris Goldschmidt, a longtime resident since 1997. And it's crazy because I have been in this industry for so many years, and the one place I don't have a location is in Palm Beach, right where I live, right where I have raised my children. So as I sit here and I listen to everybody and I say, wow, this is an incredible group of people that I've known for so many years. But I was given an opportunity to be able to come with a group of people with SSP to be able to join with them in some capacity as a partner. But I will not give up. I will keep going. And maybe one day, if it's not today, maybe later. We hope it is today, but I look forward to the possibility of joining forces with SSP. And I thank them for that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Pat Murray. I'm the CEO for SSP America. And I just want to start by saying sincere thank you to you all. American government democracy's got its real moments, and I'm sure you guys get to hear an awful lot of really serious topics. You spend a lot of time on our restaurant world. I'm sitting over there thinking 40 years ago, I was a kid working at McDonald's as what we used to call the swing manager, and you guys are debating about food, and really appreciate you for that. We say 1 in 7 people in America work in restaurants somewhere, and it's a big portion of American society, so thank you. I only have really one thing to say. Much of the conversation today is about being local. Our company's 17 years old. It was a startup. I was one of 2 guys who started that company, and everything we did was local. So today, we had up on the screen a little more than 500 restaurants. The only restaurant that we own today that has the same name over the front door as a national coffee company. Every other restaurant is a local business. Our business itself on the inside out is built to manage those companies. It's something we pride ourselves on culturally. So it's not just the name over the front door. There's a lot of questions about how the money flows back and forth. You can't build a company like that without having relationships that go deep in the community. So those are the things that are important to us. I appreciate what a challenging afternoon this is for you all, and thank you so much for the time. We would love to be awarded the package naturally, but I appreciate your position. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lisa Cantrell. I'm an RN. I'm a resident of Palm Beach County. I just wanted to draw attention to all the people that are here and all the business owners in the community. I hope that you keep in mind that the people that work for you have families, and those wages that you pay them. I hope that the business that you grow is profitable, and that you don't forget the people that work for you who have to pay rent of $2,000 to $3,000 a month on $15 an hour. Just keep that in mind, that I hope that some of the profits and some of the opportunities that are given here to the business owners in Palm Beach County, don't forget the families and the individuals, the healthcare workers and the teachers who are making very little money and struggling to make a living so that your business can profit and go forward for the benefit of the community. Please don't forget to invest in your workers. It takes more than a minimum wage job. It takes a village. It takes cooperation, effort, and real work in numbers to produce a community that's able to sustain economic turndowns. And if the economics are only here to support business to business, the workers can't afford to work and live here locally, and everybody fails. So just keep that investment in mind as best you can. I wish you all, and I pray all the best for you. I hope you go forth and keep us in mind. Thank you.
Okay, we have John Clark, Carolina Barefoot, Allison Fletcher, and David Bissett.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Carolina Booya Barefoot. From the sea to the shores of Palm Beach comes the first caviar company to be based in Palm Beach, Ultima Caviar. We are female-founded, minority-founded, female and minority-run. We're based here, but we sell all over the county, all over the state, all over the country, and all over the world, from Canada to Mexico to UK to Spain. But you can find Ultima Caviar at fine Palm Beach establishments like Virginia Phillip Wine Shop, who, by the way, Virginia Phillip is one of the few master somms who is a female in the world. Find us at Mary Mahoney on Worth Avenue. In private jets, yachts, Ultima Caviar has collaborated and is being sold at the Colony Hotel, Meat Market, Beach, La Galoo, The White Elephant, Hive. We've collaborated with Palm Beach's Palmer Magazine. We're with Sandy James Catering. We've been featured on all local media outlets, but guess what? Just last month, we were also featured on Robb Report and Yahoo News. And I know I'm running out of time. We also have this fantastic jetpack that I can show you afterwards. And I just want to end with this. Ultima Caviar differentiates itself for its commitment to quality, sustainability, and ethical sourcing. We visit each and every sturgeon farm, and that's why our founder is not here today. She's in Spain visiting a sturgeon farm. And we have trout roe, which is kosher. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Allison Bircher. I'm the owner, founder of Blue Mountain Coffee House in West Palm Beach. I opened 2 months before COVID, and I'm so proud as a female minority owner to be still around. And what's most amazing is that we still have quite a few other companies coming to us every day. How is business? How is business? We're so proud that you're open because we're leading. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that my employees have, at the end of the day, a paycheck, or at the end of the month, they can pay their rent. Blue Mountain Coffee House stands for the world's best coffee. We have people flying in from Palm Beach International Airport just to get our coffee. Can you imagine having that at the airport? That would generate so much wealth for the county in general. I'm so proud to be with SSP America because they don't just look at the bottom line, the buck, they look at the people. They look at everyone. They look at the children. They support my annual toy drive, without even questioning how big it is. They are there for the people. I am so proud of them. I'm proud to be a part of this joint venture. Finally, we need change. I believe we're the underdogs. Everyone has been there forever at the airport. We need change. We need to see that difference. People need something new, and that is SSP. Finally, I want to say, we talk about generational wealth. How can we do that when everyone is supporting only major corporations? Please think about that. Thank you.
Commissioners, Vice Mayor, Madam Mayor. So a couple of points I'd like to make.
I just want to, isn't Blue Mountain Blue Mountain in Jamaica? And they have really good coffee there?
Yes, it is.
Very
We
good.
have a small estate there, and that's where the coffee comes directly.
So I thought, okay, very good. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Just a couple of quick points I think might be helpful for the Commission. So first is we are obviously your retail-only operator today that you've trusted. And with that trust, we have delivered sales that are 30% higher than that of comparable airports of the same size. We appreciate the opportunity to now bring that excellence to dining, which we do not do for you today. We are obviously an award-winning restaurateur. We would like to bring that excellence. That is a significant difference here to how business operates today. Now, one thing that's been made very, very clear by this Commission is that you do not want to be locked in for 13 years. Something that has not been said today that I think is critical that you be made aware of is in our proposal, we have a $4.8 million midterm refurbishment fund separate from the initial capital. What does that $4.8 million really mean for you all? Well, that means that we can change fully up to 3 of the concepts. We could completely rebuild them at some point during the contract. So there really is no fear here of that you are somehow locked into a situation that is unchangeable, even if that is from menu, if that is from store design, or a particular concept that we need to evolve into. That is why these contracts are set up that way. And lastly, we have spent in our current agreement, we have spent even further and beyond both the initial and midterm capital amounts. Thank you for your consideration.
Sir, I'm sorry, I missed your name. Were you John Clark?
No, David Bissett.
I'm sorry, thank you. Okay. Okay. The last 2 names we have are Derek McRae and Rick Morris. Last call for Jennifer Jewell, Sarah Cohen, or John Clark.
Hello, County Commissioners. I'm Derek McRae from McRae's Backyard Barbecue and Seafood, and we've been around for 91 years as a family business here in Palm Beach County since 1934. My great-great-grandfather brought Henry Flagler here. That's how it all started. But I'm here to express my strong support for the SSP team as a prime concession operator in the Palm Beach International Airport. I believe that their selection would positively impact our local community and enhance the travel experience for all airport visitors. There are several reasons for my support. The community engagement SSP has demonstrated as a genuine commitment to connecting the broader community's interests with the airport travel experience. Their approach ensures that the diverse voices need our residents to be reflected in the offerings available to the travelers. 2, partnerships with local brands. SSP has actively partnered with many of our local brands and favorites, providing travelers with the taste of Palm Beach County. The collaboration not only supports local business, but also enriches the airport experience by showcasing the unique flavors and products that our region has to offer. 3, agricultural awareness has shown a keen awareness of the agricultural significance of Palm Beach County, which enhances their strategy in promoting local products by highlighting our region's agricultural heritage. SSP contributes a richer narrative as it resonates with both tourists and locals alike. In conclusion, I believe the SSP proactive approach to the community engagement, partnership development, and cultural wellness will make them invaluable asset to Palm Beach International Airport, and I encourage you to consider their proposal favorably. Thank you for your attention to this important matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for cards?
That's it.
Alrighty.
I'm Jennifer Jewell. I just wanted to say.
sorry.
No, it's quite all right. You heard plenty from me earlier. I just wanted to. It seems like I have the chance to have the last word, so I wanted to take it, if in case that's true. Thank you.
Thank you all. No, sorry, cards are done.
There were 4 non-speaking cards that will be entered into the record as well.
Okay, thank you. I want to say thank you to all of the presenters here today. You did get the signal from all of us that we wanted local, and all parties that presented have brought local to us, and that's important because when Laura came to my office 3 years ago, that the conversation that I had with her was, I want someone when they step off the plane to feel like they are in Palm Beach County, and it doesn't matter where in Palm Beach County, north, south, east, or west. And I think that the proposers listened to that, and when the proposers were in our offices, they were, constantly throwing about local companies that they were going to use. So I think all of the proposers that we heard today have done that and have done a good job of that, and I appreciate that. I see no lights on. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Commissioner Woodward.
Yeah, if I could have Parodies to just come forward. We didn't have the same discussion that we did earlier about the menu. I think you were here to listen to that. I've gone through all the listings of menus and wanted to make sure that you had the same commitment that we received earlier. As far as dietary restrictions, we discussed using local produce as much, which I think you've talked about that, but I just wanted to confirm that with you, that each restaurant would have a consideration for dietary restrictions.
The short answer is yes.
Okay.
The slightly longer answer is we did submit that on our menus when we made the RFP, and we have spoken with our brands since you obviously asked the question, and it is confirmed that they will all include that.
Okay, and that it also does include grab-and-go sandwiches, because
That
that's...
is correct, and we
typically a
also have
problem.
a supplier for kosher.
Already.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Baxter.
Before you sit down, just in case, is there anything we would need to do? What exactly did it state in the RFP? Is the commitment from Parodies or anyone awarded these contracts to doing business with local vendors, and to what extent?
So their RFPs are incorporated, their responses to the RFP are fully incorporated by reference into the agreement, so they are part and part of the agreement. There's also a specific provision that was added related to use of local agricultural products to the maximum extent that they can. And their, for example, menu offerings and prepared products. So every agreement has that commitment. They've all provided their menu offerings, everything that they've presented to you today, whether it's SSP or it's Parodies, those commitments are included in the agreement because we've incorporated their proposal into our agreement. Now, if there's, to the extent there's a conflict between the two, our agreement controls.
Thank you. And follow up, Mayor.
Sure.
And to your point that you were making earlier about it was kind of a race to the suppliers, and now that this will be potentially wrapping up, how would you be able to proceed forward with the current RFP and proposals in place?
So one thing that is important to note is if you do reject Verde Market and make that Plum Market, we have received via the agreement with them all of the agricultural letters of support that they are bringing to the table. So in plain words, the same brands and agricultural companies that SSP have access to broadly are now the same ones that we have access to. So once somebody is awarded, it is an open market for everyone to come forward.
And thank you for that response. And with that, I want to thank both companies for presenting. And I would like to make a motion that we approve or award a Parodies with this 4C2, I believe it is. So that would be the second
Package 2. So
package 2,
14
right? I would like to reject the Verity Market portion of it, and potentially have you guys, and replace that with the Plum Market, because that is an alternate, is it not?
It was not one of the proposed alternates, but as I mentioned before, the RP does give you the option to reject parts of proposals. It also, as I said before, the agreement gives you the ability to negotiate future changes to the agreement. I'm going to defer to Mike on, how he would like you
Okay.
to structure the motion.
So I will just leave it as a rejection of the Verity Market, and
With
to them.
direction, kind of like what we did with the first one. It
Okay.
Works well.
That works. And that's my motion. Does the clerk need me to repeat it? Thank you.
So I have a second from Commissioner Weiss. Any more discussion?
One comment.
Go ahead, Commissioner Weiss, and then.
Thank you. I just, and I'll be very brief, but I want to thank, first of all, to the folks from the community that have come out, all the small businesses that are here, and there have been many, just how proud we are of all of you. I mean, you all have built amazing businesses here in Palm Beach County, and you are the backbone of our business community is our small businesses. And then to the proposers, thank you. I mean, you all have done phenomenal jobs, really. And I have to say, and I can imagine what it was like for you on the selection committee. I don't know how you did it. Very difficult because everybody came in with excellent proposals, but somebody has to be chosen. So,
Commissioner Sachs?
What has been said. And I think that if it wasn't for our airport and the quality of our airport, I think that what we have seen today is the quality of people who want to serve the people who come to our airport. So you can see that we have really, we have an example. We have a boutique airport, and I look forward to taking a trip. I feel like I should just go there and eat soon, But I'm real proud of the quality of our airport. Thank you, Ms. Baby. And I'm proud of the companies that we have and the agriculture that we have here to promote. There's not many cities, when you think about it, that has sturgeon and caviar as well as sweet corn in one county at an excellent airport. So thank you all for this, and I look forward to my next trip. Thank you, Ms. Baby.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? See that motion carries 7-0. I would like to thank staff immensely for this. This was a yeoman's job. It's been a long time coming. Thank you very much for hearing everything that the board was interested in. And for the petitioners, thank you for, the proposers, thank you for your involvement. Okay, we're going to take a minute or so to let everything turn over because we have another break. If I could have the proposers do their congrats outside, we still have a board meeting to run. All right, anybody that's here for the airports, please leave. You can converse in the foyer. And we congratulate everybody that came today, and thank you. And PGA Tour, love that, by the way. All right, what staff representatives will be here with County Attorney? Just you?
Just me.
We have, hold on a second. Commissioner Powell. Yes. Okay, Commissioner Powell, we're going to go on to 4D1, which is a presentation from the County Attorney.
Yes, this is our motion requesting instructions from the commission.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on, there's too much noise.
Yeah. The county attorney has filed a motion asking that you would grant my request to schedule a private meeting for an attorney-client session between the Board of County Commissioners, the county administrator, the county attorney, chief assistant county attorney, and assistant county attorneys pursuant to Section 286.0118 Florida statutes to discuss settlement negotiations in pending litigation, which Palm Beach County is presently a party, N. Ray Avenir Development LLC versus Palm Beach County, Florida. And number 2, to give public notice of a private meeting for an attorney-client session to be held at 1 p.m. on May 6, 2025 in the McKeedy Conference Room at 301 North Olive Avenue, 12th floor, West Palm Beach, Florida, and placing further notice of the private meeting, Board of County Commissioners meeting on the agenda. The following persons will attend the meeting with the members of the Board of County Commissioners who are present at that time: Virginia Baker, County Administrator; Denise Kaufman, County Attorney; David Oddie, Chief Assistant County Attorney; Maureen Martinez, Sean Fahey, and Ryan Mayer, Assistant County Attorneys. The board will discuss settlement negotiations, and I would be requesting a motion to approve the attorney-client session.
Thank you. And I actually think we have cards on this.
Yes, we have 3 cards.
Okay.
Take them now.
Yep.
Okay, we have Alexandria Larson, Lisa Cantrell, and Anastasia Colas.
It's always interesting to me how the taxpayers' money gets spent, because they should pay for the roads, Avenir. That's my personal opinion. I had to look quite a bit to find a write-up about this. It was actually Joel Englehart that I found. As always, Joel's been around since my beginnings here at the county, but that Avenir is a nightmare because we do not have State Road 7. I'm just little reminders, commissioners, that not to torture you at all, but we don't have State Road 7 going through to North Lake. Avenir has 2 entrances, one at 140th, one at Coconut, and they always planned that from 2004 when they made their little presentation up at the big hotel up there in Palm Beach Gardens. See, the fait accompli has always been here in this county. That's the problem. None of that should have ever happened. Scripps crawling out of the county with its tail between its legs, $1 billion that we wasted. I think we need people that watch our dollars. Maybe you should hire people that watch our dollars more so than, a little bit harder than everybody else, because this is, when I drive by Avenir, it looks like something out of the Arabian Nights. It does not fit the character of where we live. It does not fit it at all. And I know it's funny, but it's true. It does look like something out of Alibaba, not something in Loxahatchee, Florida, or the Acreage, or Grassy Waters, or the J.W. Corbett. So hopefully, I hope you win. I don't think you should settle with them. I think they should pay. That's it. And it's just an opinion. I'll have your meeting, and I think maybe we should go back to Tallahassee and get it where the developers are paying their fair share to destroy the lives of the people of Palm Beach County with traffic.
I think Ms. Cantrell left. Anastasia, did you? And this is this is only in reference to this meeting that we are proposing. This has nothing to do with anything else. Is that where your comments are on?
I missed the other item, so I was just trying to see if I could squeeze this in, but I submitted paperwork, so I'll just leave it at that then. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All righty, so I need a motion to grant.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Weiss, a second from Vice Mayor Baxter. All in favor? All opposed? See that motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. That's why I got it. Mayor,
Yes, sorry.
could I, with the board's permission, add on a motion to advertise? Otherwise, the clerk is unable to advertise this for us. So I would just
So-
like a motion to advertise.
We got a motion from Commissioner Flores, a second from
Second.
Vice Mayor Baxter. All in favor, all opposed. See that motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Okay. All righty, we have now concluded the regular portion of our agenda. Administrator Baker, was there something I needed to bring back, or we're going to the workshop now? Okay. We are going to the workshop now. Thank you. So who's presenting? Who are the lucky presenters? This is the workshop.
Actually,
Again, good afternoon, Mayor.
Hold on
Vice
one
Mayor,
second.
Commissioners.
Vice Mayor Baxter?
I do have previous engagements. Do you guys mind if we move up commissioner comments to prior to the workshop item?
How about if we just do yours?
That's fine.
Okay. So we're going to, with a small break in the action, we're going to have Vice Mayor Baxter give her comments.
And thank you guys for being patient. So we've had some discussion recently about the county administrators and the task force and everything that is going on. And everyone, I think, to Commissioner Woodward's point previously, has been bombarding us with questions of what's going on, how's this working out, so on. So I put together some points that I thought might help with everyone on the task force and ourselves having some more, just an equal process that gives everyone a fair chance. So I'm gonna, actually, I should just pass these down, if you don't mind. I even made one for the attorney, so if not just reading them off, people can actually look at them. So I will summarize basically what it comes down to is specifically more so in number 3, that everyone on the task force just picks 2 names, and it's that simple. I think that was the easiest, fairest way. The rest of it is just more process, because I feel like we get up here and the reason I make copies is we explain and explain and explain over and over and over. And that is, the summary of this is that I think the applicants, I think we, the board, should be able to see them first of all. I don't know why we wouldn't be able to see every single applicant if we wanted it. It's a public record. So I think that's absolutely, we're not saying that we're choosing from those, but at minimum, why is it we keep running into these issues that the public has access to, yet we are denied access to those applications? I think that's shouldn't be the case, and we should be able to see all the applicants. I think we can look at them and say, hey, you know, we have the ability to give input. But at the end of the day, we have a task force. So whatever we look at, those task force members would be able to pick 2 each, up to 14 people. That's not a lot. And then interview. The entire list as a whole would be approved by the board to send to the task force. Say, okay, here you go, task force. Each person, 7 people, pick 2 names. And then at which time the commissioners get to be informed which candidates were selected. And the process just is much smoother. This avoids the ranking, because what I kept saying in previous meetings was, I don't want these to come to us ranked. Absolutely not. And I don't want staff taking over this process. I think every member of the task force picks 2 names. And it's that simple. And then the top 5 selected by the task force will be sent to the commissioners. I put in alphabetical order just because that's how I do lists, but it doesn't have to be, for the commissioners to consider an interview. This way, we have the opportunity to review the list before it goes to the task force, and then the candidates after. That way, we are ensuring we're staying a part of. And as we saw earlier with the RFP process, this board wants to be a part of these processes and not kept out. And I think this ensures that. So I'd like to hear what my other commissioners have to say.
Administrator Baker?
No, I'll wait to hear what the board has to say.
Commissioner Sachs?
This helps out a lot. Thanks, Vice Mayor. I appreciate it. There's just one issue that I have right now, and that is on number 1. The staff will send, and I'm reading this, the staff will send a copy of the list of applicants and their resumes they deem qualified for the county administrator position to all commissioners for review after the April 28th deadline. We decided at the April 8th meeting that everything would be in the sunshine, that we operate in the sunshine, that every process that we go through in this county government operates in the sunshine. Therefore, all applicants and their resumes will be sent to all the commissioners and open to the public. If it is not, well, we already voted on it, so it's a done deal. It was 7-0 at the April 8th meeting of the County Commission. And if you don't remember it, I have a copy of it. It was a 7-0 vote at the April 8th meeting of the County Commission that every part of this process is transparent. It is open to the public. The public has a right to know, specifically and especially because this is a position that serves the public.
Commissioner Sachs, may I ask a question? So would you like to have not just the qualified sent to us?
Absolutely, everybody.
Everyone?
Well, that's
I'm
what we
amenable
decided
to
on,
that. That works.
7-0, but
So
it should be all applicants.
Agreed. And then do you want them sooner than the 28th?
That's up to the rest of my colleagues as to the
Okay.
date.
I think
I
the
just want to be
28th is
sure that we have all the applications, and the public has to have all the applications and their resumes as well. And that's, the rest of it for the dates is up to my colleagues' opinion, which I'm eager to hear. Thank you.
Any other comments? Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. I do recall us having a discussion that we didn't want to be responsible for hundreds of applications, and from what I understand, as of last Friday, we're at 127 applications. So are we now saying that we are going to be the ones that review these before it goes to the task force?
We are not reviewing them for qualified or not. We are reviewing them and then saying we can reject any ones that we want, but as a whole group, we are then sending every application to that task force.
Okay. And so I guess my question is on your number 2. The commissioners will meet one more time and review the final list. So is the final list the qualified list?
That's the entire list.
Okay. And nominate any candidates they want to also include. Does that mean someone who did not apply?
Potentially we could. I don't think us as a board would necessarily do that.
Okay, I wouldn't want to have that in there at all. If the person doesn't apply, I don't think we should add them to the list.
I don't think so either, but we're not asking or going to do that. I think it's just if someone's applied and we want to add them in, so, okay, I agree. Only people who have applied.
Only people that have applied?
Yes.
And then would we exclude anyone at that time?
I think we would have to vote on an exclusion, but.
And this would all happen before that list of finalists goes to the task force?
This is more like a comprehensive. We have everything. We're not digging in. We're not doing details. We're leaving that to the task force. We're just saying this is the whole list we're approving, sending it to the task force, so then each pick 2 people from that entire list.
Okay. I guess I'm not quite prepared to vote on this. This is new. And then we also did discuss that we would let the task force kind of decide for themselves how they want to narrow the field, how they want to do their process, and so are we now saying no process for them, they just pick 2?
Well, they can pick their own process of how they get to 2.
But they're only getting to 2 because we originally said that they would bring us a maximum of 5.
There's only going to, okay, so they're going to pick 2 each, right? They will interview up to 14 people. They will narrow those 14 down to 5 that will then come to this board. That way they're not interviewing 100 plus people.
No, I agree with that, but I thought that part of the process they would work with the HR director on, I think at the max, he said maybe 20 to Zoom interview, or like he would work through that process, but that all being dependent on how many applications we get too.
I think if you can't get to the final two of any one of the task force, it's a waste of time because you're not going to get to the final 5.
So they're meant to choose 2 before they interview.
Right. Then they're only going to interview 14 people.
What if 7 of them choose, they could end up with 7 interviews if they end up with,
Correct.
duplicates.
That would be probably ideal for the task force,
It
not
could
to sit
be,
through
but-
14. Correct.
Okay, I guess I was under the impression we would let the task force do its own job. So I would prefer to keep it that way. If we want to review this, us get the applications beforehand, I understand that, and to look at the list that goes to the task force, but I would rather leave the task force to do its job to deliver us the 5, however they see fit. That's just my opinion.
Commissioner West?
Thank you. I have no issue of getting a copy, sending them electronically to me. Don't know that I need to see them, but, that's fine. Because that was not the plan. The plan was originally that we voted on was our HR director will get all the resumes. We'll eliminate any of those that are not qualified. The remainder will go on to the task force. The task force will review all the applications themselves. They will then meet. They will determine how they're going to operate, what their process is going to be in ranking the applicants. And then they are going to narrow that list. And then from there, they would ultimately move 5 on to the Board of County Commissioners for in-person interviews. That's my recollection of what we voted on. And that's what my recollection of was, as with Commissioner Sachs, was a 7-0 vote. I don't know why I want to change that now. Honestly, I don't. I think the process seems to be working. We have 120 plus applications at this point. And I don't want to put my hands into what the task force is doing. I don't think, I looked at who was appointed on that task force. These are all tremendously qualified individuals, and we're asking them to do, they're all professionals, and I think they can come up with their own methodology on how to best deliver us with 5 candidates for us to look over. So I appreciate your time and effort, but I already voted on this. I'm ready to just move on and we're in the process and just get it. Let's move forward and complete it.
Commissioner Sachs?
There's nothing that we are discussing today is as important as this. We did vote, Commissioner Weiss, on April 8th, and what we voted on was that all applicants and their resumes would be available to the public and obviously to us. That is the number one thing. Other than that, whatever we can do to make this process more available to us as county commissioners is important. Most of the people on the task force, I thank them for volunteering, but I'm not sure that they should have the authority or the ability to dismiss someone that maybe a county commissioner wants to keep. So I think, first of all, everything's open into the public, including every application. There should be a link, and we did vote on that, 7-0. Other than that, if we want to change anything, we have the ability and the authority to do so as a county commission, and we're all 7 here. Whatever, because we're going to have to answer to this to the public. If we choose someone and that person does not work out, it's our fault, not a task member, our fault. And it sits with us. So whatever we can do to keep our authority here with the 1.5 million people we represent is what we should be aiming for, looking for, because that's what they're looking to us. And I can assure you, my constituents will let me know. They're vocal, they're not shy, and I have that obligation to them to make sure that the choice is a correct one. So I'll leave it up to 6 other colleagues of mine and listen up. But I think that this is a very important issue, and it's up to us. We have we've had a county administrator serve for many, many years. I still don't accept her resignation, but
Retirement.
But let's move on.
Retirement.
Okay, whatever it is, she's leaving us. You know, I don't want to say anything more. I'm going to embarrass her. But we've got an awesome responsibility, and so we should take it seriously and not look at it as a chore. It's a responsibility. So I'll listen to my colleagues on that. Thank you.
Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's important to note that there is nothing in the process. In fact, we voted on a process that allows us to add in people who were not included by the task force. So any application that's received, I'm speaking to you, that you can include.
Let's have a conversation. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Look,
Go
that
ahead.
everybody can have any application that we receive can be included if you so desire, if the task force does not. So you do have full control. So you can assure your constituents that you can have control over this. If there's
good.
somebody that the task force did not select to move forward, that's an option. That was what we voted on April 8th.
Correct, and I appreciate that.
And I think one of the other things we might, if we really wanted to show the public, how much we thought this was important to them, we could also add in a national search firm to help us as well to identify candidates that we're not, but we're too far down that process now, I think, because as we said, if we can't find a candidate that's acceptable to the majority of the board at that June meeting, then we will hire a national search firm to assist us. But that was an option from the beginning, which I thought would have brought more clarity to the public and more just a better, potentially where they would see it as we're doing everything, turning over every leaf to try and find them the best qualified candidate to serve them.
Thank you, Commissioner Wise, and I absolutely agree. Thank you, Mayor, for allowing us to have this conversation, because it absolutely is important that we all have copies of every application and their resume, and because it ultimately sits with us. Thank you, Commissioner Wise, and thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I got a chance to read what Commissioner Baxter, Vice Mayor Baxter, has proposed. I think it's an interesting concept. Here's where I'm at. I want to listen to the board discuss this. I know we put together a process for the task force that also does allow for once the task force gets down to 5 people and they come to us as a board, if there's someone who submitted that we think should be added. I don't have a problem with this concept. I think it's good. But for me, I just want to hear what the rest of the board thinks, because clearly, as you all know, anything I say will more than likely have a headline to it. So with that being considered, whatever y'all want to do, I'm with it. I'm here to listen, but you can change my name to Bennett because I'm not in it. Bobby Powell did not say it reported facts accurately. I just want to listen, and I'm willing to support whatever the board thinks is the most appropriate way. And from day one, make sure I'm clear, from day one, I wanted to make sure there's been full transparency in the process. That's why when I set it up, I wanted to make sure every meeting fell on dates that we had a public meeting so that those things could occur in this chamber. Thank you.
Okay, so that leaves us with a discussion about what Vice Mayor Baxter put here, which is a little bit of a difference from what we've already voted on. So I'm not really seeing that there's an appetite for changing the way we've already done it. We've already voted on. Do I have any more comments on that? Commissioner Sachs.
Let's go ahead. I thought, have you moved to?
I can make the motion.
Okay,
I'd
but I
like
just want that amendment on number 1.
Yep, I will make the motion to follow this process going forward, but amending that it would be all of the applicants.
So you're taking out number 3?
No, just on number 1, changing it from deemed qualified to all.
I'll second it.
Administrator Baker.
On number 1, just for clarification purposes, with the memo that went out on Friday to the board, one of the things that I've discussed with our new HR director was that there would be, after the 28th, you gave him the direction to, after the close date, gave him about a week to go through it, look at it. And we are already working on a link that will have every single person that applied and their resumes attached to that link. The board will get it, the public will get it, the committee will receive based on your directions, unless you change them completely today, the director will then put together those that met the minimum qualifications this board identified. He will then send that to the task force. And then, of course, the board would also get a copy of those that were deemed qualified based upon your direction on the minimum qualifications. So you will get all of that information. It will be made available to the public through a link, and everybody is transparent. Nothing that we're doing will not be transparent. But I wanted to be clear that there will be a link, and every single application and resume will be attached to that link. That once he is completed, we've got all of that laid out. It will go on our website. There will be a link. They just click on it, and everything will be there for them, including the board. And then the task force will receive the people that met the minimum qualifications. Did I miss anything, Dr. Khan?
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward and then Commissioner Sachs.
If I could ask on line 2, are we removing the part where we would include any candidates that did not apply? That this has to be only candidates that actually applied?
It says the commissioners will meet one more time and review the final list and nominate any candidates that they wish to also include or discuss any candidates they want to exclude. The commissioners will decide the list of finalists. So you want to just say, if they're not included in the application, to not have them included?
If they didn't apply, I don't think we should add them after the fact.
I don't see, sure, I have no problem removing that.
Okay, and then my other question is, that's item number 2.
Right.
Second, right here. To nominate any candidates they would also include.
I agree.
And then my other question would be not having that they can only select 2, that however they come to their selection process, I wouldn't want to just dictate from here that each task force member would select 2. Can we allow them to narrow the field down to the final 5, however they get there, and remove 4 altogether? They'll interview however many they interview, like that. I would like to let them work through the process. Or should we just not have the task force at all?
No, I definitely want the task force, but this is this is what this comes down to, is simplifying the process for the task force and not going to a ranking system.
Well, I agree
They
with
each
not
pick
doing the
two,
ranking, but you
and
do
then they
have
send-
rank their top 5. So remove rank their top 5?
No, then they would send their top 5 to us, the BCC.
Wait, just on line 4, it says that the members will each select and rank their top 5. So we're asking them not to rank their top 5, just choose 5?
Right, not rank it in any specific order, but come up with a top 5 to send to us.
Okay. Well, that part I'm okay with. I'm not okay with us saying that they need to select 2 and they can only interview 14. I think that should be their call.
I think that gives every task force member an equal say, better than anything else. Because if each task force member has to pick 2, then you don't want one task force member to be able to pick 3, 6, 7, 10 of however many they dwindle it down to. This just makes sure that each of our appointments gets an equal opportunity to pick 2 members. So if you're saying you would want them to pick up, each person to pick 3, each person to pick 4, I mean, that's how it would be an equal ability for each of our members to have an equal say in this process.
Well, if we could Dr. Khan, if you could explain what the process was going to be in order to get to, you mentioned up to potentially 20. I mean, to her point, to make sure that our task force members do have equal say, did you have something that you were going to propose to the task force that would ensure that?
The kickoff meeting for the task force is currently scheduled for May 1st. The public hearing for the announcement went out yesterday for that. In that meeting, we are going to be discussing the code of ethics, the sunshine laws, choosing a chair and a vice chair. We'll also be talking about how they would like to narrow down the pool. Per the current resolution, it would be narrowed down to 10 people, and then they would interview those 10, which would then be narrowed down to 5. So,
And may I? But by narrowing it to 10, you're now saying that 2 of the members, let's say each person had 2, it's not an equal process at that point. By narrowing it to 14, which is why that's the magic number here, each member gets an equal say, and the 2 people they want to send to the final selection for that task force.
You had asked about methodology. There's a number of ways that you can get the large number of people who meet the eligibility down to, and I don't know that number as of yet, down to 10. And so in the May 1st kickoff meeting, one of the things I'd be doing is proposing different ways to do that, which could be as simple as showing every single resume and a majority vote, we move along. And you keep narrowing it down, and that way it's the majority is whittling it until we get to that 10.
And I guess that's where my problem is. That's the majority of 100 plus applicants, right? That's a lot of votes. Where if you have every member pick their top 2, you're simplifying the process, you're making it transparent to everyone, and it's easy to follow. This was a matter of simplifying so that we're even probably saving them the time of choosing. It is simplifying a process is the entire goal of this, so that they can get down and every member has an equal say.
Well, if I could, since you're having that meeting on May 1st, that's a Thursday, we have a meeting the following Tuesday. That's a regularly scheduled meeting. Could we then, you have the discussion with the task force and then would bring to us their preferred method and then maybe an alternate method that they could also use, and then we could decide, do we feel comfortable that our task members would have an equal say in what they're planning to do, but let them hash this out and have a discussion and then tell us, I mean, it's the next Tuesday, that's the 6th, tell us what they've decided, and then if we're all comfortable that we feel our task members will be equally represented, then let them continue to do what they want to do.
Commissioner Sachs and then Commissioner Weiss. Yes, I know your name.
Well, it's interesting. I know, but I know your first name. The 14, I like the number 14 because there's 7 of us. We will have 7 units of task force members. In other words, we have one each. We're 7. If each chooses 2, you get 14. Okay, so that way it's a little more representative of 7 county commissioners. Okay, so each task force member picks 2 members of eligible applications or applicants. So each one of us, that gives us 14. We're 7 times 2, 14. A little more manageable than 10, I think. Whatever it is, it's to me, it's not, again, I go back to my policy, which is, these are wonderful volunteers that we have volunteered for this task force. They'll pick their policies. They'll pick who who the foreman is and the vice foreman. But let's make sure that our interests are represented by this task force. And that way, each one picks 2. We have 7 of us, it gets to 14, and then it comes to us. And I think that would be appropriate and fair. But I'm listening to my colleagues as well, because it's 7 of us who should have an opinion on this.
Well, if I could, just because we're talking about them choosing 2 from resumes and a letter of intent, we're asking them to go through potentially 200 of these, and they're going to choose this. We have 2 members of our board who've been on a similar task force. I think you had 81, and if you were told you handed a stack of resumes and letters, pick 2. I mean, are they? I know the person that I've chosen, and I'm sure the rest of you too, are taking this very seriously. They know what we've asked them to do. This is a big job. And to be handed a stack of a few hundred resumes and say, pick 2. I mean, I might get a phone call from my person right now saying, are you serious? How am I? I'm not an HR person. I'm willing to go through a process with 7 other citizens with an HR director to help guide us. But I mean, that's what that's what I asked my person to do, and now I feel like we're changing the game right out from under them and saying, here's a couple hundred resumes, pick 2. I'm not comfortable with that. I think that's a really big ask.
What would you prefer? Not 2? What do you suggest?
To let them discuss a process with the HR director and each other, let them discuss their own process, and then let us know what they want to do. Okay. But I mean, I don't want us to micromanage this from the outside, because we're not going to be sitting with them in these meetings. Let them figure out how they want to work together. I mean, we're asking citizens to do this. It's a big ask, and they know it. We all know it. It's getting bigger by the day. But to hand them, you're talking a stack like this where you go through a couple hundred resumes and pick 2. I'm not comfortable with that part of it. I think we should allow them to work through the process however they see fit. Let us know what that process is, of course, let the public know, but we asked them to sit on a board together, the 7 of them. And I think we should allow that to work its function.
I don't have any objection to having them decide their process of how they're going to determine which number they give us. And we could say, give us 20. We could certainly leave it up to them, and I'm for that as well. The more applications we have, the better it is in terms of picking and choosing and doing the interviews. And this is a big job. This is an important job for the public. So, Commissioner Woodward, if you would like that to happen, I don't have any objection to having them decide. Maybe they only like 3. I don't know. Maybe they like 20. But I agree. And with the proviso that you had discussed before, Commissioner Woodward, that if there was some, and maybe, and this is open to discuss, let's say there was someone in that applications, because we'll see them all, who we really like. And maybe the task force didn't like that person. I mean, it's open for discussion. As long as it's in front of the public, I think that your way is probably preferable. Leave it up to them. They want to give us 5, 14, 20. I think the most important thing is that we allow them to go through the process and that we have the final say-so in it. So I certainly agree with your opinion on that.
Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you. Yeah, the way I envisioned the task force working was that our 7 appointees would come together and work together to, ferret out their top candidates. And I would assume they'd do that through reviewing the resumes together, looking, I'm sure they'll come up with some top ones that they find most interesting, share that amongst each other, talk about them as to why they found them going to the top of their list. And from there, working together to try and come up with what they feel like is the best best qualified people that they think could be suitable for fulfilling this position. So I think the original plan put together, that's what I envisioned doing, it working. I think, in the way our HR director had indicated that's the sense I got from him on how he thought it was going to work out. They were going to come up with their plans on how to do it, but they were going to work together and have discussions and be able to review and discuss things as to why, one applicant might be strong or in one area. And I think it all comes from their personal backgrounds too. They all have different strengths, and being able to, apply those strengths and as a task force, and that's what it is. We've called it a task force. Then that typically means people working together on something, not people working in individual silos. And so I'd really like to see the process move forward as we had envisioned it. And I would be, of course, I have no problem, as I said, with everybody receiving all the copies of all the resumes and applications, which is now been made clear that that's by our administrator, that has been the plan all along, to make them available electronically. So I appreciate your thoughts on this, Vice Mayor, but I think we have the best possible thing happening right now, and I'd like to see it play out. And if there is an issue, the task force can make us aware of that issue, and maybe we need to change something. But at this point, nothing has happened, so I don't see any reason to change, I think, the great plan that we put in place.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Baxter.
Thank you, Commissioner Weiss. On some of that, I do agree, but kind of on the opposite direction of that, because this hasn't started and we're not interrupting a process or trying to change it, the task force hasn't already met. I think this would be the appropriate time to try to simplify and set something for them that is just very easy to follow, very easy to understand, very easy. And as far as I do agree with Commissioner Woodward that I have no problem with them selecting their own process of how they narrow it down to get to two, or, if they want to go and put on a screen individually every resume, they can decide to do that. If they want to go through and evaluate that at their meeting, they can decide that. There's so much of this they can decide. That is up to them. This was just saying that I want every member of that task force to have an equal say, and by having each of them, or giving each of them the ability to select two from however they review it, this is what makes that, I think, the most simplistic and the most fair and equitable process for all involved. I will say that I would like to call the question at this point, because there was a motion and a second, and take a roll call vote and see where everyone stands.
Well, as mayor, hold on a second. Hold on.
She called the question.
She did call the question. And the question is, do you want us to vote just on this, or you want us to vote on calling the question?
At that time, I did not see any lights. So if fellow commissioners would like to give more input, I would love to hear from them. I withdraw calling the question.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, Robert's rules. When you call the question, you have to call the question. Commissioner Powell, your light is on.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is with regard to the process here. Is there proposed amendments that we just suggested, or what are we would be calling the question on? And also, in addition to that, I just wanted to hear more from the board. I didn't hear some of the thoughts. I mean, it's somebody on the board who I haven't heard from yet. I was just wondering what they're thinking. So No, but that's really, I wanted to find out if there were proposed changes or what's the thought process.
Mayor, do you mind if I answer the question about the amendments?
Go right ahead.
The amendments were to number 1, instead of deemed qualified, it would be all. And then to number 2, if they did not apply, they would not be able to be considered at that point.
And the 2?
It's just, yeah,
That was under number 2.
if I could just,
But no,
Hold
as
on. Commissioner Powell
I'm,
has a follow-up.
I believe it is an unfriendly amendment to change number 3.
Okay. Number 2, the commissioners will meet one more time and review the final list and nominate any candidate they want to include. That portion is already built in. Once we get through the process, we can, if somebody's eliminated.
Which is pretty much taking that
Okay.
out.
So we're striking 2.
We'll review it one more time, but we're not adding anybody who hasn't applied.
Thank you. That's a substitute amendment?
Yeah, that's what was previously discussed.
Thank you.
Commissioner Woodward, then Commissioner Sacks. And Commissioner Powell, anytime you want to pipe in.
My question was on item number 3. Are you not willing to make the amendment to remove the 2, select 2 names to interview?
I am not, because I want them to be able to decide how to get to the 2, but I ultimately want each member to have a say of what 2 they deem to, for them.
Okay, I can't support that part of it. If you're not willing to put this, then my vote would be a no. The rest of it, I'm willing to accept. I just don't think that we should limit each person to 2. I think their goal is to get to 5 for us, and however they do that, I would rather leave that to the task force. So if you're not willing to move that, I would not be for any of this.
Commissioner Sacks?
I thank you, Vice Mayor, for doing this. I think this is important and needed. I just want to make sure, number 1, the staff will send a copy of the list of all, and I'm looking at the clerk, all applicants and their resumes to all commissioners for review. And I don't think we need after the 28th deadline. Is that okay, fine. That's fine. I think this is a good idea. Yeah, look, resumes come in, resumes go out to the public. Resumes come in, resumes go out. If I want to apply for a county job today, that's public record. This is an application for a public job.
Commissioner Sacks, that's what I asked earlier. So do you want to remove the 20?
Yeah, I think, yes, thank you.
And have them available immediately? Sure. Okay, yep, thank you.
That's not what we voted on.
Well, I mean, once I hear, Commissioner Flores, do you plan to speak today?
Go right ahead.
So my first question is, removing the April 28th is regarding the deadline for people to apply, or just to get the applicants
to get the
for us to
Just
see?
to get the applicants.
For us
It's
to
not
see?
removing
For us
the
to see.
deadline.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I mean, I think we're just adding more work to staff, but. So I'm in agreement with 1, 4, and 5. In regarding to item number 2, which I understand that we're eliminating all of number 2, or just including additional candidates?
We can't include any candidates that have not already applied.
But we're still keeping
We can exclude.
to exclude?
Honestly, we could probably just get rid of all of number 2 if you'd like.
Okay. I would agree with just removing all of them.
Okay.
And in regards to 3, I see the each selecting 2. still gets us at the same place, where then yeah, you see why I didn't want to speak? It gets us to the same place where the task force still needs to eliminate it to 5. You still have to review all 200 applicants that I think we're going to get. I don't know. I'm struggling with 3 at this point. I say
Do you have a suggestion?
my suggestion is that we pick this back up on Thursday, because I'm sorry, we just got this 10 minutes ago, and I got to make a decision on the process. So I can agree with you with 1, eliminating 2, 4, and 5. I haven't played this out, and I read very slow in my head, so I apologize. I know.
Well, Commissioner Woodward made a suggestion of, why don't we give these options to the task force and let them choose? And I think that if the task force chooses, that means, and that's what we do. We may not vote on things 7-0, so we may vote on things 4-3 or 3-4. I think if we give the task force the choice of how they would like to do this process, give them their options. If they want to choose the 2 people per task force member, then so be it. If they want to go through each one and do it by majority, so be it. I think we're asking the task force to do a lot, but by giving them the option of how many they want to look at and how many they want to choose, by giving them the option, I think that's the best input that they can give us. So I would see at your May 1st meeting where you give them the options and see what they come back with. And I'd be...
And you're wanting to say we could include this as one of their options?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
Mayor Marino, that's brilliant.
Actually, I think it was Commissioner Woodward, and I'm just re-speaking.
It's brilliant. I think we got it. So why don't we just make sure that it's all done perfectly so the clerk can write it out? And whoever you think should say that, Mayor.
At this point,
okay?
Sorry. So at this point, the only change that we're making is that we will receive the applications.
We took out number 2.
But I mean, for number 1, it's that the copy of the list of applicants and their resumes.
Will come to us immediately.
And you want to remove the April 28th deadline, so that starts, well, when we say immediately, we still have to give Dr. Khan at least, I guess, maybe 24 hours or so to,
Whatever.
if this is going to be a link.
possible.
Okay.
If they come in,
A reasonable
they go
time.
out, Yeah, whatever is easier for staff is good. Just when they come in, they go out. Okay, so since this is yours, Vice Mayor, do you want to?
On number 3, what we're doing is we had a process for the task force. We're giving this as another process and let the task force choose which one they would prefer.
Correct.
So then we can have 14 names that they interview or 20 names that they interview. It will be up to them.
Could you state it so that it comes out as number 3 and the clerk can get it down so we can vote on it, Mayor?
I don't necessarily know if we need to do that. We'll give this to the clerk because right now what's going to happen is number 3 will change or may not.
I think we're just making the motion to make sure that everything is followed appropriately and that this gets sent to the task force as an option and not leaving it up to direction. There was a motion, a second, and I can clarify it for the clerk if you would like.
I think that would be appropriate. And that way we have a number 3, but it's been restated. And we can have it restated so the clerk can get it down.
Clerk, do you have a copy of this? Yes, I did. Thank you. Okay, just so we're referencing the same.
Good.
And if the task force chooses to not do number 3, then number 4 does not apply because it would just be the amount of people that they interview. So the task force has the choice. They will let us know. And if in fact they choose number 3, then number 4 stays in place. If they don't choose number 3, then number 4 doesn't stay in place. But at the end of the day, 5 names will come to us. They will not be ranked. It will just be their 5 top choices.
I'm sure you got that down.
And so for number 1, we are changing it to all applicants.
And their resumes.
And their resumes.
To all commissioners.
We're eliminating number 2. And number 3 will be sent as an option to the task force. And then contingent upon that, 4, if they choose 4, it stays in effect. But if they choose, if they choose 3, 4 stays in effect.
Correct.
If they do not, then 4 will be eliminated.
Correct.
And 5 is as written. That's the way it's always been. And that's it.
That's it. And I
So that's
second
the
that.
motion I'm making, or I
Second.
move to do that, and there you go.
We take a vote.
Hold on one second. Commissioner Powell, your light is on.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So,
Wait, the clerk had something to say.
Okay. Hold on one second. Sure, go right ahead.
I heard that Vice Mayor Baxter made the motion, but who was the seconder?
Commissioner Sacks. Thank you. Commissioner Powell.
so I just thank you, Madam Mayor, for that. The entire list shall be approved by the commissioners and will be sent to the task force for each member to select two names. So on number 3, if the task force chooses to do this particular option, does that reverse the order because the list would be sent to them or sent to us first?
Thank you for
Right.
that question, but then if we are giving them the option, then it's not coming to us first.
So does that need to be an amendment
We can,
to the amendment? Yes. It would be an amendment to the amendment.
I'm sorry. So clerk, number 3, where it says the entire list shall be approved by the commissioners will be sent to the task force, that should be stricken from this because that's not an option to them. But they will have the option to choose the 2 names each to interview before their board and so on. So that is my amended motion.
Is that clear? Thank you. Clear as mud. Yes. So in essence, we are actually making this a very transparent process, and our task force will be choosing the path that they would like to go. So, Assistant Duran, do you have a comment?
No, I just wanted to say that the resolution we were working on previously, which was Commissioner Powell, said that the board would get it, the task force will get it down to 10 and interview 10. So now we're amending that just to be clear so we're following the proper path.
That it can be up to 14 should the task force choose.
Correct. Okay.
Thank
clear.
you for that
Thank you.
clarification.
Thank
Commissioner Powell, any more comments?
Yes. So this does not necessarily change the previous amendment. I mean,
No.
I'm back to amendments. The
Previous
substitute,
resolution?
the resolution yet. Correct. However, this goes to the task force. They didn't decide that they would like to do up to 14. At that point, we would come back with the caveat to amend the resolution as previously passed. So we would substitute, or we would amend that previous resolution here, or we allowing staff to amend it based on conversation considering what the task force would do.
We need to bring that back.
I know, I was going to say, we need the attorney to, do we need to?
It sounds like we need to amend the resolution, and we can always include language that says it, subject to the task force decision.
Thank you.
And we'll bring that back to you. And I would request that there be a receive and file of this board direction statement. I know the clerk has it, but we haven't received and filed it.
Correct. Okay. Commissioner Woodward?
Then can we vote on the
Could I just ask for clarification of what Mr. Dern said with the 10? Was the 10, did we first say 10 to come back to us, or 5 comes back to us?
They were going to interview up to 10.
5 unranked will come back to you.
So that doesn't change with
no,
this? Okay. I just wanted to make sure that that didn't change from the original.
Thank you. So do I first need a motion to receive and file?
So moved. Second?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So that motion carries. I think we're done with this, correct?
We didn't vote on, Mayor.
We received and filed, but the motion now is to bring this to the task force and have them vote on which procedure they would like. We had a first from Vice Mayor, a second from Commissioner Sacks. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? See that that motion carries 7-0. We're done with this portion of.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
One last thing, I just
Commissioner,
needed
I'm sorry. Commissioner Flores.
I have to make my formal appointment, so I wanted to do that before they do their presentation because I have to leave at 4.
And and the lastly in my comments, to finish them up, because that was a long one, was a request for an offsite proclamation declaring May 1st as National Day of Prayer. Thank you. So do we need a motion and a second for that?
Yes.
So I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
I can't second, sorry. A motion from the Vice Mayor, second from Commissioner Woodward. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? See that that motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Commissioner
Mayor.
Flores, while you are... Commissioner Flores, do you want to make your 2 appointments, or Administrator Baker, do you need to go first?
I just want to make sure we're all clear. Staff is clear, not the board, but staff is clear. For the applicants, we were working on a link. Has that link been completed? I will make that a priority to get with our ISS director to make that, which I already instructed, but they have to create that link. So that will depend on when you get it.
So once that link is created, then you can...
Then we'll have all of the applications, et cetera. We'll submit those to you. You did give the director a week to pull all of that information together with the qualified candidates. So that information will be sent out or sent there. He will then pull that information together. I think on May 1st was the date we were looking to give the task force the applications of the qualified ones, the 6th. So if you want us to come back to you on the 6th with the list, because that's where that's going to be our next meeting. So that will be on the 6th.
That would be the qualified list.
That will be the qualified list. You will review it, give us direction, and then I guess the task force will meet after that. So the May 1st meeting will not be the first time that they see the applications. We will delay that to the May 6th. After the board is completed, then the next scheduled meeting, they will receive what you received and approved.
So when you talked about May 1st and giving them the option of...
I'm sorry, their first meeting is May 1st. Are we
So
giving them
their
the applications on May 1st or May 6th?
For the kickoff meeting is to set the expectations for the task force, to go over all of the ethical training, sunshine laws, choose the chair, and choose the process, to prepare them for May 6th when they receive the list of all eligible applicants.
Eligible or qualified?
Qualified. Well, people who meet the qualifications.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I apologize.
Go right ahead,
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Sachs.
Thank you very much, Mayor Marino. The word qualified, we just made a rule for the second time after the April 8th meeting. All applicants and their resumes will be submitted. If someone is not qualified, then you can star them and say they're a resident of Martin County or something. But no one person or group should make, we've gone over this, so let's not go over it again. Ms. Baker, if you need to talk to your staff and get them on board, that's fine. But we have made a decision, all applicants and their resumes will be submitted to the public and to the commissioners, and those will also go to the task force. And if there are, obviously we will.
I got it.
I don't know why we're having this discussion. I don't think, Ms. Baker, if you need to get staff on board, they should be on board. Well, we are on board and we're ready to proceed. So we've made a decision for the second time now, and I think we can move on. Okay, Ms. Baker?
I hear you loud and clear.
Good.
However, this task force is going to have over 200 applicants or close to. Do we want to send them resumes that don't receive a bachelor's degree? Because that was your only real minimum qualification.
No, it's being a U.S. citizen and being a resident of Palm Beach County.
I don't think
If somebody is, no, well, all right, I'll delete U.S. citizen. But if somebody's not a resident of Palm Beach County, I mean, it's obvious you put a star next to their name. But you and I have had a long discussion about bachelor's degrees. I don't want to go into it. The board has already made their decision. I don't think we need to belabor it. Let's move on. If staff needs direction, that's up to you as county administrator. Let us move on. We've made a decision, and I think this discussion has twice now been voted on. Let's move on. Thank you. Thank you.
We did vote on it, but it included a bachelor's degree.
Oh, no, I know. I absolutely agree to that. What I'm saying is this. All applicants and their resumes will be sent to us.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
But not all applicants and resumes will be sent to the task force.
No, and we will take a look at those and determine with the help of our new HR director that if somebody is not a resident of Palm Beach County, that person is
That was not one of the qualifications.
That's not a qualification.
That was not one of the qualifications, being a resident of Palm Beach County.
Okay, so why don't we go over it? So that's not, okay. I think we need to be better, I need to be better informed. We're talking about a bachelor's degree, but they don't have to be a resident of Palm Beach County, they don't have to be a U.S. citizen. So, Mr. Khan, why don't you tell us the applications?
I think this is out of order.
Requirements, if we're going to go over this.
Sorry, I'm going to cut all of this off at the moment.
Okay, thank you, I
I'm going to cut all
appreciate
this
that.
off.
I think
We
so.
voted.
Thank you.
We know what the qualifications are. What item number one is that the board has requested to see all resumes. That's fine, all resumes and applications. However, what the task force is going to see are all the qualified resumes, because somebody could send us a resume and they may not have an education at all. The task force will get the resumes of the qualified folks. The task force will decide which procedure they want to follow. And then on May 6th, can you tell us what's going to happen on May 6th?
On May 6th, two things are going to happen. One of them, the members of the task force will get a list with the resumes of all people who meet the minimum qualifications as determined by the board. And then I will also be reporting back to you on the methodology that the task force has chosen on May 1st to narrow down the pool.
Thank you. All right. Vice Mayor Baxter, your light is on.
Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so I believe we have put this to bed. Is that correct? Okay, good. Vice Mayor Baxter finished her comments because I know she has a 4 o'clock stop. Commissioner Flores has a 4 o'clock stop. You wanted to give your 2 appointments? Oh, Commissioner Baxter will be out of here in 4 minutes, that is, not 4 o'clock. Commissioner Flores, your 2 appointments are?
Marcela Montesino is the primary, and the secondary is Humberto Rivera.
I'm sorry, say that again, please? Marcela?
Marcela Montesino, they already have the names. Yvonne already got, and I think I sent a memo out to everybody on 2 Fridays ago.
Okay. Marcela.
I just had to say it into the record, I guess.
Thank you very much. Okay. So, if it will be okay, who else has to leave early? What time do you have to be gone? Do you have any comments that you'd like to make before you leave? Okay. So now we are actually going to move on to the Commissioner Sachs. Okay. How long is your presentation going to take?
Well, we've already met with each of you all individually, and we've shared information. So again, we don't have to provide a presentation unless you want a presentation.
I think you should do a brief presentation. As you said, this is a workshop item. We will have a quorum still by 4:15, so why don't you go ahead?
Thank you so much, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. And so, Jonathan Brown, Department of Housing and Economic Development. We're going to be discussing with you today two different items. Our 5-year HUD Consolidated Plan, which is the overall guiding policies that we need to submit to HUD and how we're going to use their dollars over the 5 years. And then we're going to present to you an action plan. The action plan is the annual allocation of funds that we receive from HUD that, again, tie back to the consolidated plan. Those 3 formula grants the county receives: Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnership Funds, and our Emergency Solutions Grant. Within our 5-year plan, there are unincorporated areas in 32 municipalities that are involved in the plan. For HUD programs, we go up to 80% or below area median income, and you can see what that is for a family of 4. And then again, the action plan is required annually. We've gone through and started our consolidated planning process and received some stakeholder input. After today's workshop, we plan on coming back to the board with additional input, seeking final approval on July 8th. And then we'd submit the plan to HUD.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. There's a large amount of demographic, economic, housing, statistical data within the plan. This is just a snapshot of some key data points. Of note is housing needs. Housing cost burden is a situation where a household is paying more than 30% of their gross income towards their monthly housing cost. As far as the covered income groups under the consolidated plan, those are households at 80% of area median income or less. 90% of those households are cost burdened. And looking a little further closer, about 30% of owners and 25% of renters pay more than half of their income towards their housing costs. Part of the consolidated plan involves the identification of CDBG target areas. We work with our local municipalities who are participating in our program to identify an area within their jurisdiction that is in need of housing and infrastructure improvements and which meets HUD's low and moderate income guidelines. We have 10 municipal target areas identified in the document, as well as 6 unincorporated target areas. Those unincorporated target areas being based on OCR, the Office of Community Revitalization focus areas. As Jonathan mentioned, there's a number of public meetings undertaken as part of the consolidated planning process. We also did an online community needs survey that was distributed through public affairs, county social media, departmental social media, through a lot of our partners and coordinating bodies. Here are some key points that came out in that survey.
So the consolidated plan identifies priority needs for HUD program activities based on statistical research, stakeholder input, and local policy direction. Priority needs help to guide the allocation of HUD program resources, but do not restrict the county's ability to choose among eligible grant activities. Proposed priority needs are grouped into various categories as depicted on this and the following slides. So here we begin with affordable housing and the different categories that fall below affordable housing, including new construction, rehab, and assistance to individual buyers. We also have homeless categories, emergency shelters, transitional housing, etc. We also have social service assistance that include mental health, developmental disabilities, and victims of domestic violence. Infrastructure and facilities examples include paving and drainage, water and sewer, parks and rec, community centers. And priority needs are economic development. It's funding for businesses for job creation and retention, and business services such as technical assistance, financing, and business incubators.
So far, we've talked about the 5-year consolidated plan. Now we'll move on to the annual action plan, which serves as the county's application to HUD for the 3 grant programs that are covered and being discussed. The actual grant amounts for the upcoming federal fiscal year have not yet been issued by HUD, so these numbers that you see in this presentation are based on current year funding levels and would be adjusted once the actual grants come out. These here on this slide are the major categories of activities. On the following slides, we'll go into a little more detail on each. HUD allows up to 15% of the grant to go towards public service activities. The majority of that funding goes to support operational costs of county homeless facilities, and 25% of it, or about a little over $200,000, is granted to some local not-for-profit agencies providing social services to those various categories which you, Sherry, highlighted. You also see activities going towards economic development. CDBG supports local agencies that provide business training, incubator space, financial sourcing, and CDBG also funds HCD staff that are providing technical assistance services and managing a portfolio of business loan programs that focus on creating jobs and supporting wealth creation in disadvantaged communities. Here, you see a list of those municipalities with CDBG target areas. We utilize the same formula that HUD uses nationally to distribute CDBG funds, to distribute them here locally amongst these municipalities. These municipalities typically use these funds for capital improvement projects, parks and recreation, and some code enforcement out in the Glades areas. As there's a municipal share, there's also a unincorporated share of these dollars which go to county department capital improvement projects.
And then we have our Home Investment Partnership Program. Home is primarily for... Good afternoon. So we have our Home Investment Partnership Program. Home dollars are specifically for housing and housing only, whether it is home ownership, whether it is homeowner housing, whether it is assistance, rental assistance, those things. And we also provide funding to nonprofit organizations called community housing development organizations that provide housing as well. And then lastly, our Emergency Solutions Grant, a program that we work with our Community Services Department. They are the ones who directly administer the ESG funding. And agencies such as Adopt a Family, Salvation Army, YWCA, and AVDA have been recipients and current recipients. And so, Mayor, Commissioners, again, next steps for us is we're going to prepare a draft of the consolidated plan and the action plan. We're going to continue our public outreach and secure some public comments. We have at least 2 public meetings going to be held, one on the Eastern County, one in Western County. Then we'll be back to the board with the draft of both plans by July 8th, and then we need to submit them to HUD by August 14th in order to receive the funding that's committed to the county.
And just as an aside, attached to your PowerPoint, we do have the updated income limits that were just updated for 2025, so they've gone up a little bit.
Wonderful. Thank you for the presentation. Does anyone have any questions for staff? Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. Just one question. I think there's 9 municipalities that aren't part of this. Does anything they do reflect on our ability to get this money, or is it just total separate?
The other municipalities that are entitlement municipalities would receive their own funds from HUD, and they would administer their own programs, develop their own consolidated plan and their own action plans.
Okay. Is there ever any part where we're kind of looking at an overall master plan, including what those 9 cities are doing? Because I think it's the 9 larger cities, right?
We have conversations, obviously, with them, because whether it is with our state programs or other programs, we're partnering with those other municipalities to do projects within those municipalities. While we don't necessarily collaborate in terms of consolidated plan and action plan, because every community has its specific needs and identity, we do collaborate with them on our other programs, state programs. As a matter of fact, we just had a meeting on our state programs where all the municipalities that have affordable housing advisory committees were invited to meet with our affordable housing advisory committee.
Okay.
Commissioner, the other thing we do is when there are projects located within those entitlement communities, we do look to them to help us match funds so that the cost of those projects is not borne solely by the county. So we do look to those entitlement communities to support our various housing initiatives and economic development initiatives.
Okay, and I know as far as like the homeless resources that the county has, I think it kind of, I don't want to say outshines, but we're able to have a bigger homeless resource. City of Boca is working to partner with us right now for the hot teams part of it. But is there more collaboration on that part versus maybe the affordable housing? Especially since the new House bill went into effect and everyone's...
Yes, there is. We have been sharing information. That's more over on the community services side. We have been sharing information such as the signage that we've adopted. City of Boca, you're correct. We're going to be bringing forward an agreement with them to fund 2 hot team members that will be able to concentrate in that area. And we're working with some of the other municipalities to do likewise. City of Boca was one of the first to come forward and do that. But many of the cities also participate on our homeless task force, and so their work is included in that arena as well.
Okay, and is that part of this consolidated plan that we're working for this, or is that's separate?
It's really more over with the Community Services Department and the dollars that they receive.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you all for the presentation. The priority needs that were identified include affordable housing, where you, and I think that's slide 9, are proposing to expand the stock through new construction, preserve existing stock we rehab, increase ownership with home buyer assistance. That's where I'm at. What's the process? I know we've got this long-term plan, but in terms of increasing ownership, more specifically, I know we've had discussions with regard to District 7 and the higher rate of homelessness in District 7 and those who are underhoused. Do we have a more structured or a more processed way of this particular portion right here, increasing home ownership? I know with the housing bond money, we've increased what nonprofits can attain to be able to construct housing, but with CDBG funds, Community Development Block Grant Funds, how are we working towards that? And how do we, in terms of process, how do we get there?
Great question, Commissioner. So typically with CDBG, we do not use it toward housing. Obviously, the board can decide to do that. One of the challenges is that with CDBG, you cannot use for new construction unless you're a community-based development organization, and at this point, the county does not have one of those. So we look at our other funding sources, which are our homes, which are our ships, other federal dollars and state dollars that we receive, and primarily the programs that you will see from us. You mentioned the developer-related programs that are going to create new for-sale housing. The county provides down payment assistance, and then the county will also provide first mortgages at 4%. Those are typically the developers, the county, and then our nonprofit partners are the way we create new homeownership opportunities.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? No? Okay. Administrator Baker.
I have no question, but if the board is completed with this portion, I'd like to recognize Sherry L. Howard, our Deputy HED Director. Sherry, this is her last meeting with us. She is retiring at the end of this month. Sherry started with us in '95, and she worked at Parks and Rec. Then she came to legislative delegation, stayed there for a while, finished up her degrees. She also was assistant with our lobbying effort while she was there. I then recruited her to economic development. She and Jonathan ran our economic development office for quite a time. He then deserted us and went to Fort Lauderdale. Tammy was with us throughout. And then the county combined economic development with housing and economic development. Jonathan came back. Sherry was made the deputy director. She has done an awesome job for us. She's worked very closely with our businesses dealing with economic development, along with the Business Development Board. And she has served our county, the business community, and our residents with extreme professionalism. She has represented us on the local, state, and national levels when it comes to economic development, as well as housing. We wish her good physical and mental health and happiness during her retirement period. I know Don is extremely happy to have you home with him because he's been retired as long as my Joe. So Sherry, I want to publicly thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart for all of the service that you have given, not only Team PBC, but our residents, our businesses especially, and this board for many, many decades. So thank you very much.
Oh, and you get a gift basket. Palm Beach County goodies.
That's right, so she can't forget us.
They can meet for a leisurely lunch.
Yes.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you. I just want to echo some of the sentiments of Administrator Baker. Of course, I met Sherry when I was going through Leadership Palm Beach County back in 2011 when we both were in our 20s. And, you know, you were a lighthouse, somebody who I look forward to seeing at the time, and I still, to this day, every time I see you, I light up. You, of course, were a person who would push me and pull me to expand myself and continue to do so with your encouraging words when I see you now. Good luck and congratulations on retiring. I guess my time is coming pretty soon since we're both, you know, in our 20s. So, no, but congratulations. Really happy for you and good luck.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
I'll keep it quick.
I light up
but,
when I see you.
No, I just wanted to thank you. I've only known you for a couple of years, but especially the past few months, you know, we had a little trip together. Yeah, thank you for that. And just really, I understand retirement, I get it, but I'm very, very sad for myself, selfishly sad for the county. But I'm sure your retirement is going to be amazing. But please don't be a stranger. Don't delete my number from your phone because there may be times I need to talk after this. But hopefully you get to travel and enjoy some well-earned time off. So congratulations.
Thank you. Commissioner Sachs.
And thank you so all for many years of service and your smile always. And you've just been very much a part of your team and part of the whole BBC team. So God bless.
You can't go. I'm saying no. Your retirement letter is not accepted. You're going to be missed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we adjourn, does any board member have any comments or people they have to appoint? I actually do have an appointment. I'd like to appoint Kara Irwin to the Planning Commission. And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you. Commissioner Sachs. Okay.